So, if you're running a small business of any kind, whether you're running an e-commerce business or you're running a software business like I am here at FreightPath, one of the things that you're probably worried about is customer acquisition at the top of the funnel. In layman's terms, you're worried about finding people who are interested in what you're selling, whether that's software, clothes, products, services. It's probably one of the big worries you have. And there's a couple of different ways you can use to achieve your goals. You could reach out to everybody one by one through typical sales means. That's one way, like outbound calling, outbound sales, prospecting. That's definitely a way you can get business. Another way you might have concerned is mass email marketing or mass outbound marketing. This could be through email campaigns, through social campaigns, through paid ads even. But what I think makes a terrific marketing channel nowadays that I think it's starting to catch on, but I don't think has become commonplace just yet, is the idea of creating really great content. I don't just mean blogs, like really multimedia stuff. And my favorite thing to do at FreightPath is our podcast. So, quick little shout out. If you haven't seen it already, go check out The Lord of the Rigs on Spotify. I'll shoot a link in the comments below if you want to check it out. But what it is a great chance for us to learn about what people in our ICP care about, and also for us to connect with people and channels that might help us later down the line in our sales process. So, a few big questions here. How do we find the podcast guests? How do we run the podcast? And what are the actual effects of the podcast on the business itself? Let's talk about it. The first question people always ask me when I tell them, hey, you should start a podcast with it, or hey, you should start a video podcast, same thing, or webinar series, whatever you call it. The first thing that people ask me is, Terry, where do you find your guests? So you can't be afraid to go out there and ask people, hey, hop on the show I've got, I want to talk to you about this. And what I found is that don't be afraid to ask people, because almost everybody is willing to share their experiences, because as long as you provide value to them. And what that means is the type of promotion that you promote your podcast has to benefit them more than it benefits yourself. So one of the great ways I've seen us do this at FreightPath is a lot of the people we've interviewed on The Lord of the Rigs have actually gone on to create a lot of meaningful connections through that platform. People discover them, people find them through us, and in a way, they're sharing their experience and knowledge with us, but they're also using our platform, just like we're using their platform a little bit. It's a mutual exchange of value as opposed to it being one way. So as long as you can provide that type of platform and you legitimately want to have a conversation with them, nobody wants to be sold to on a podcast, then it's really easy to go out there and just find exactly what you're looking for. And it really is very simple. Second, how did I actually get this podcast to work? How did we create the conversion funnels that actually turned this podcast into something useful for us as an acquisition channel? Well, this one is a little bit more complicated. There are a few key ways your podcast can be used as an acquisition channel for your business. One, people who listen to it come in as leads. This is the simplest to understand. Let's say you have a podcast, I listen to it, I'm interested in the podcast, I'm interested in your company, I learn more about your company, I'm interested in your products, I end up purchasing your products. This is the basic form of acquisition, and it does happen, but it's not the biggest. Second is that it starts growing a channel. So what this means is that people who follow the people who you're interviewing, let's just say that I'm interviewing the director of logistics at a large brokerage firm. We provide some information to them, they provide some value to us, and we're really having a great conversation on that side, even though they're not our target audience for our product. However, many of the people in that broker's network, those are our target customers. So what happens is that our broker's message, our guest's message and voice serves as an additional channel for us. And finally, it helps us build a community. So the people that are already invested in FreightPath, they start seeing this, they enjoy the content more, they start to upsell a little bit, and that's our third acquisition channel. So those are the real three ways that we turn our podcast and essentially our webinars and any other video series into a real form of revenue. But how do we do it, and how do we best leverage this content? That's point number 3. So, you know why you have to create a video series or a podcast for your business now. But the big question that a lot of people have is, how do I get started? What equipment do I need? How much scripting do I need to do? How much research do I need to do? And I say, screw all of that. Don't worry about it at first. Your first piece of the content, I'm going to be mean here, are going to look awful. And it's okay, because you're still going to be so proud of them, and they're still going to be great to you. And to your first listeners, they're going to love it. And you know what? Your second piece is going to be better. Your third is going to be better than that. Your fourth, you might learn how to use a new fancy piece of equipment you now have the money to buy. The fifth, you might start scripting some stuff. Get a little nice intro on there. Figure out what type of intro music you like. Don't worry about that at the very beginning. You can always change. So get out there, create something, and I'm excited to see what all of you guys come up with. If you guys create something exciting, share it in the comments below, and I'd love to give it a look and share it on my network as well. Peace.